Mike, Professor
And
Mike Barnes.
and you. Yeah, we haven't met before, have we? I don't think so.
No, this is a
It's
new,
good.
very. I've never had the pleasure. Let me introduce myself to you. So,
Yeah.
I'm here in Seattle, Washington, the USA. I'm a physician and also a geographer. So an
Okay.
MD, PhD. I've always been interested in research and innovation in the field of medicine, and I kind of took a social science and policy route because I'm interested kind of in public health and public
Yeah.
policy and sort of issues of justice, and also a geography standpoint because I'm really interested in integrative health and human environment relationship as it applies to health and disease. And I've always been fascinated by geography. Yeah, I've lived in Scotland for a few months when I was in college, so I got an
All right.
experience with a different
Yeah.
part of the world in Edinburgh.
Yes.
So that was great. I met some Newcastle folks in my
Oh, good.
university at the
And
time. So
you understood what they were saying, did you?
yeah. Compared to the some
Yeah.
of the more rural Scottish folks, yeah, I was a lot.
Yeah. 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 That's for sure. Yeah.
So it was great. So yeah, I'm after my specialty in medicine. I completed training in two areas: hospice and palliative medicine as my primary subspecialty, and then also physical medicine and rehabilitation, and with a lot of focus on pain and neurorehabilitation. But I've done a lot of
Yeah.
work in end of life care, palliative care, consultation, and now I'm doing I have started an integrative medicine practice with a naturopathic physician called the Ames Institute, where we have a large team, or like 10 plus providers of different stripes, doing work in chronic and serious illness at the cutting edge. We like to think, in terms of integrating
Mm.
natural
That's
therapies,
interesting. Yeah.
mind body spirit medicine, psychedelic assisted therapy, cannabis assisted therapy,
Right.
and other herbs and approaches, just to have more of a time with patients and to kind of get out of
Mm.
some of the rat race the issues that can occur in the large system. So I'm also on
Yeah.
faculty and I teach. I'm at the University of Washington,
Right.
affiliated professor there. So I get involved in those things, but that's what I've been up to. And as far as cannabis goes, that's been my area of topic of focus in my graduate work. And I'm still really, I'll tell you more about that as we go. I'd love to hear more about you.
Okay. Well, no, that's interesting because we don't really have that tradition in the UK as much as you do of integrative medicine, as you could call it. I wish we did, because I think I've really changed my view over the last few years, because I'm a neurologist. I was brought up in straight neurology, moved into academic neurology, and I got a bit fed up with that. And I felt it was just one diagnosis after the other, and we didn't follow people up. We just diagnosed them and said, off you go, you've got multiple sclerosis, off you go. And I felt that was very unsatisfactory. So I moved, like you were, into neurological rehabilitation and became a chair of neurological rehabilitation,
Wow.
set up the World Federation of Neurorehabilitation way back 25 or so years ago now. And we had the first conference in Newcastle, where I'm from, in north of England.
Wow.
And I've always been interested over perhaps the last 20 years in cannabis, because I was initially running a multiple sclerosis clinic. People were coming to me and saying they found they were using cannabis illegally 20 years ago. And they were finding it really helpful for their pain and their muscle spasm in that context, particularly. So I thought there must be something to this. So I asked people coming to the clinic, do you use it? And people were very honest with me, and about half of them said they did use it. I thought, well, there must be something to this, because these were severely disabled people who were getting it on the illegal market, and they wouldn't be doing that unless it was helpful. So that triggered my interest, and I helped a little bit with the development of Sativex. I don't know if you have that in the States from
Not yet,
Pharma.
yeah, somehow they never made it across the finish line here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's okay, and I helped with that. It was licensed for multiple sclerosis spasticity, and it turned out, as you know, to be the first licensed cannabis medicine. And nothing much happened in the UK because we have a body that looks at the cost effectiveness of things called NICE, ironic name, National Institute for Clinical Excellence. Some of the deliberations are certainly not nice, and they said it wasn't cost effective. They were probably right with that,
Yeah.
but initially.
Mhm.
But then cannabis sort of re-emerged about 5 or 6 years ago. I was asked to do a report on it for a government body, an all-party parliamentary group, as we call them over here. Then I was
An
asked
all
to get
party.
involved.
What do you
It's an
call it? An
all-party parliamentary group. It's a sort of unofficial
parliamentary group.
lobbying body of members of parliament from all parties who
Okay.
join together for a particular issue. So there's a lot of them. Everything from sort of road transport through everything you can think of. There's a sort of lobby group for, and there was one on drug policy. So I did a review for that drug policy group.
Okay.
And then I got involved with a little boy called Alfie Dingley, who was at the time was 6, and he was a little bit like Charlotte Figge across in the States.
I've spoken
His
to
mother
her.
was I had never met them.
He's
And,
passed away now,
oh
unfortunately.
yeah, it's sad, very sad. But Alfie was our Charlotte, if you like, and his mother campaigned very well to get cannabis for her son Alfie. They'd gone to Holland to get it. They didn't want to live in Holland, so they wanted to come back to the UK with the medicine that was by then working. And so they had a very good campaign, which I helped them with, and we got the first ever license for cannabis in the UK and the first prescription for cannabis in the UK.
That's
So we're going to take up 20 minutes of me prattling on if I'm not careful. But since then, I'm now full-time cannabis, and I run a thing called the Medical Cannabis Clinicians Society in the UK, which is most of the doctors, and a thing called the Cannabis Industry Council, which is a sort of trade body with about 120 companies, all UK focused. So I'm now just pure cannabis now.
Oh
So,
wow, fascinating! You really become super specialized in rehabilitation to this.
It's a bit of a change in my last a bit of a strange end to a career, I guess. So I've moved from mainstream neurology and being a little bit skeptical of. I suppose you could say herbal medicine or integrative medicine. Now I'm much less so. I've very much attuned to it now. A bit come to a bit late in life, but I've got there in the end. So now.